Welcome back to B&G Hockey, where it's always black and gold. I haven't made a video for a couple weeks, there hasn't been too much Bruins news, but as things start ramping up here and the season gets closer, I promise you there is more to come. But we did get some pretty big NHL news today, as it was announced that the NHL players will be going to the Beijing Olympics in February, so I figured we'd take a look at some of the Bruins players who will be making that trip. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start out by talking about the guys who are obvious locks to make a roster, and then I'll get into a couple of guys who I think should make rosters that maybe not everyone's talking about. The first of the obvious locks is Patrice Bergeron. He's a Hall of Fame player, one of the greatest two-way players in the league, and has already won gold for Team Canada. And even though he's getting up there in age, he's still playing at an elite level, and he's one of Sidney Crosby's favorite line mates to play with at an international level. But Bergeron's not the only favorite line mate of Sidney Crosby, and definitely not the only Bruin who's going to be on Team Canada. Brad Marchand will also be a lock to make Team Canada. It's no secret to Bruins fans or Sidney Crosby how good this guy is, especially when you play him alongside Patrice Bergeron. They make up one of the best duos in the entire league and can play in any situation. This line was huge for Canada at the 2016 World Cup of Hockey, and Brad Marchand was arguably their best player. And I would say at this point, he's a top 5 player in the NHL, and still not getting the respect he deserves. He's always going to get haters for some of his shenanigans, but I do think he deserves more fans, and once again playing on the world stage alongside Bergeron and Crosby, I hope he gets some respect. But it's crazy to think that they might not even be the top line, because guys like McKinnon and McDavid are on the team. But I do think if Canada's able to get gold, Bergeron and Marchand will still be a huge part of that. I'd be happy to see Marchand grab a gold medal, and I would be thrilled to see Bergeron grab his second gold medal to add to his already insanely good career. If Team USA can't win, I'll definitely be happy to see Canada grab the gold. Speaking of Team USA, it's always fun to root for your country, especially when the roster is as loaded as this one will be, with guys like Matthews, Eichel, Kane, Tkachuk, Hughes, Fox, and one of the best players being from my beloved Boston Bruins. Obviously, I'm talking about Charlie McAvoy. He's not only a lock to make this roster, he's arguably their #1 defenseman, and I can't wait for fans all over the world to see this guy play, because even though he doesn't put up the same amount of points as some of these other guys, he will be in the Norris conversation every year, and people need to know what an absolute stud this guy is. He's just scratching the surface on the player he'll become and the incredible career he'll have. What better way to start off that incredible career than with a gold medal? And McAvoy will be a huge part of the Bruins now and in the future, so I would love to see him win gold and be a part of that run. If there's anything that's close to going on a Stanley Cup run, it's going on a gold medal run against the best players in the world and super teams. And I definitely am excited to watch Team USA this year because I think they're going to be a great team, and it'll be a huge bonus to watch McAvoy be a part of that. Now let's talk about a guy who's not only a lock to make the Czech Republic team, but probably the most important player on the entire roster, and that's David Pastrnak. We all know he's an exciting player to watch, and he can score goals. And on this big of a stage, I can't wait to see what Pasta tries, and he'll definitely be scoring some huge goals for the Czech Republic, likely playing alongside former Bruin David Krejci. Now, Bruins fans, let's get this out of the way now. David Krejci already said he's not coming back this year, and I know for a fact when February comes and these two are creating highlight plays together like they used to for the Bruins, that will start the speculation all over again. It'll be fun to watch. I'll be happy for Krejci and Pasternak to get back together, and I hope they go on a run. As I said before, if it can't be Team USA, I always root for the Bruins players. I'd probably root for Canada after Team USA, but after those guys, I'm rooting for any team with a Bruins player on it. So I will definitely be happy if Pastrnak has success. I guess I'll be happy if Krejci has success. That was tough to say, but it will be fun for Bruins fans to not only watch a current Bruins star, but a past Bruins star playing together on the world stage. Now let's talk about some guys who aren't exactly locked to make their teams, but don't be surprised if they end up going to Beijing. Starting with Taylor Hall. Now hear me out on this one. If he plays like first overall pick Taylor Hall or MVP of the entire league Taylor Hall, he should make this team. If he plays like he did when he first got to Boston, he was red hot. He should absolutely make this team. Don't rule out him having a great start to next season and then being in serious consideration. The problem is, Canada's so stacked that they could probably make 3 full teams and have them all win gold. So Hall's going to be on the outside looking in, but with Don Sweeney and Bruce Cassidy being a part of this organization, maybe they have a little bit of a say, and if Taylor Hall starts off with a great season, it's going to be hard to keep him off this roster, at least as a guy who's a healthy scratch. Another guy who's in the same boat is Linus Ullmark. Now, we're all really excited to see what he can do as the starter for the Boston Bruins. He'll be splitting some time with Jeremy Swayman and eventually probably Tuukka Rask. But if Linus Ullmark can have a great year and put up the numbers like he did in Buffalo, it's going to be hard for Sweden to not only keep him off the roster, but maybe even consider him as the backup or the starter if some of those other guys' numbers start to fall a little bit, or obviously if there's any injuries. Don't be surprised if you see Linus Ullmark become the starter for Team Sweden. I did just mention Tuukka Rask. He's not technically a Bruin right now, but I think we can all agree he's going to be. And the only reason why I don't have him as a lock to make Team Finland is I wouldn't be surprised if he has a setback in his injury or if he comes back and isn't playing so well. He'd probably still make the roster, but I just left him on this list because I'm not sure where he'll be at. Maybe he tweaks something, maybe there's a setback, or maybe he comes back and he just doesn't look like himself and he doesn't want to go or Team Finland doesn't want him to go, but he's most likely going to make this roster, and I wouldn't rule out him coming back, being healthy, and playing just like the Tuukka Rask we all know, playing at an elite level, and he's definitely Finland's best goalie, so he will be the starter. Another guy who I think should have no problem making Team Finland is Erik Haula, especially if he gets a little bit of time, maybe playing on that second line. If Charlie Coyle doesn't work out, he's going to be killing penalties, and one thing Erik Haula has is a lot of speed, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these rosters go young and go fast. So Erik Haula, he's a versatile guy who can play any of the 3 forward positions. He definitely brings that speed, so don't be surprised to see him land a bottom 6 role on Team Finland. Earlier, we talked about David Pastrnak and David Krejci both being locks on the Czech Republic team. Now, these guys might be a bit more of a reach, but overall, the Czech doesn't have too much depth, and I think both of these guys are actually good enough to at least make the roster. Maybe they don't play every night, but I do think they have enough skill to make it as depth players. Starting with the newly acquired Tomas Nosek. Just like Erik Haula, he can play all 3 positions, very versatile player, and great at face-offs, which is huge in any hockey game, but especially at the Olympic level. And a guy like Jakub Zboril, it might seem funny that he might not even make the Bruins, but he'll make an Olympic team. But as I said, the overall depth of the Czech Republic isn't that great, and I do think he's good enough to make it, maybe as the 7th defenseman. And you have to remember, at one time, Zboril was a top-end prospect. He hasn't really hit that level, but maybe he could get better, and if he takes a step forward for the Bruins this year, definitely don't be surprised to see him take a big step forward for the Czech Republic. That's all I got for you in this one. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think will make the Olympic teams from the Boston Bruins, and what team will you be cheering for? Leave that down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big like, and there are big things to come on this channel, so make sure you subscribe.